Hello everyone and welcome back to Sparkling Autos. So as you'll have guessed from the title, as we move away from the time of year where salt and road grime is our biggest enemy as detailers, now we have a new enemy, that big bright yellow thing in the sky. I know we do joke in this part of the world that we don't see a lot of the sun, but you can rest assured as soon as you have your buckets out and your hose and everything ready to go, the sun will come out splitting the trees and your panels will heat up by 30 degrees. Now a wee poem for you. I know some detailers will talk about washing the car in direct sunlight as if you've said you're going to use a builder's bucket and a sponge and some fairy liquid, but for some people it's unavoidable. Could be where your driveway is in a sunspot, could be that you've only got one day off in the next 2 weeks and it just happens to be a sunny day. Whatever the circumstances, you might be forced to wash in sunlight, but there are ways to reduce the inherent risks involved, and that's what we're going to look at in this video. Here we go then, and in typical Northern Ireland fashion, as you come out to demonstrate how to wash your car in direct sunlight, what does it do? It starts raining. Now I know this was only going to be a sun shower, so let me try that again. I knew this was only going to be a sun shower, so I decided to get on with the rinse stage. Now pre-rinsing is another one of those topics where people have mixed opinions. Some people say you should always pre-rinse a car, some people say that you should put the products onto dry bodywork and that they're going to react with the dirt better. See, to be perfectly honest, I'm of a point of view of it's your car, clean it whatever way you want and whatever way you're comfortable cleaning it. What I like to do is take each car and each situation as it comes. As you saw in the opening credits, there's a lot of dust in this car, so I wanted to rinse that off first of all. The other thing is, because we're demonstrating doing this on a sunny day, pre-rinsing the car with a lot of fresh cool water is going to cool the panels down, particularly if they've been sitting in the sun for some time before you've come to this. Now again with that, if it's too warm, just don't do it. If you're not happy, just don't do it. Because do remember that whilst a dirty car is not pleasant to look at, a car with dried on soap stains is going to be an awful lot worse, and it's going to be an awful lot harder to fix. So even if you're all psyched up and you've got that day off and you're ready to clean the car and you look out and it's 35-40 degrees outside, you may want to think twice, is all I'm saying. As we move into the pre-wash stage, I should mention that the products themselves aren't being tested here, but just for the record, the foam I'm using is the Constellation Chemicals Pulsar, diluted at 1 to 10. And the reason I'm using the Constellation Chemicals is, the last video I done on this car that was protected with the Constellation Chemicals Cosmos Ceramic QD, and I wanted to quickly check the durability of the protection and the cleaning power of Pulsar when it's used at the recommended dilution ratio. None of that's relevant to this video, I just wanted to say that both products were actually performing very well. I'll admit I've been pleasantly surprised with the Constellation Chemical stuff, and if you want to try it yourself, there's a discount code in the description below. On another note, did you notice who was driving that post van? If not, skip back 10 seconds and you'll wonder how you missed that. So getting on with why we're here in the first place, which is washing a car in direct sunlight. Which brings me to the second reason I've chosen this particular snow foam for this. Pulsar works a lot like Bilthamber's Auto Foam in that it's quite a thin, milky product when you apply it to the vehicle, and it doesn't have a long dwell time, it drags off pretty quickly, and it's very effective at removing the dirt in a short space of time, which is exactly the type of product I prefer to use when I'm having to clean a car in these conditions. Don't get me wrong, thick, creamy, shaving foam style snow foams do have their place. That place just isn't on my car on a sunny day. Now you may notice the footage is actually running in real time now, and this is to show exactly how long I'm leaving the product to dwell for. In normal wash conditions, I would leave a product like this or the Bilthamber Auto Foam on for around 4 to 5 minutes. The problem with doing that in direct sunlight is obviously your panels are going to heat up and your product's going to dry out, and it's going to leave soap stains, which are a particular nuisance to try and remove from the car. And this problem is amplified on darker coloured cars, particularly black obviously because it's attracting more of the sunlight. So how long should you leave it for? Well, I've left this product on for 1 minute. As you can see, half of it's run off already. So now we're going to rinse the remaining off and we'll see what difference it's made. You may have noticed I didn't mention the wheels in this video. There is a reason for that. The process for cleaning the wheels in direct sunlight, it's going to be exactly the same. You're washing the wheels one at a time anyway, so just do what you normally do, wash it, rinse it, and go on to the next one. There's absolutely no point in me boring you to death spending 5-10 minutes talking about cleaning a wheel, because I could do that in any video. And before anybody comments and saying, oh but you're only doing one side of the car here, just remember this is a demonstration. This is a camera setup to show you my preferred method for cleaning the car in direct sunlight. I should also acknowledge here that my particular method of washing in the sunlight, if I have to do it, does involve using a lot of water, and I am aware that certain parts of the country you have to pay for your water by usage. So that's obviously something you may need to consider depending on where you live. As always with a pre-rinse or a pre-wash stage, ensure you've removed all the product before you move on to the contact wash. And that's exactly what we're going to do now. Now we move on to the really important part, the contact wash. Now if you've watched my videos before, you'll know that I like to use a lot of mitts when I'm washing the car. I've one for the roof, bonnet and part of the tailgate. I've one for the windows, or glass should I say, because it mirrors too. But let's not be pedantic. I have another one for the upper part of the doors, rear quarter panels, front wings. One for the rear bumpers and the lower parts of the doors, and then a final mitt for doing around the sills and the bottom parts of the bumpers. I know some people just use 2 mitts, even 1. But as I said earlier in the video, if it's your car, you wash it your way. This is not me telling you what to do, this is me telling you how I do this. That's all. Now a lot of this will be sped up. I'm not actually running around the car like this, like I'm trying to rub the paint off. And I'm just using my normal crosshatch pattern, one direction, flip the pad, go the other direction. Don't forget about the back of the mirror. There you go. So really the only thing I do differently when I wash in direct sunlight is this. Rinse the car in between each pass, or the usage of each mitt, should I say. So when I've used my mitt for my bonnet, roof and the tailgate, give the top of the car rinse off. And this will significantly reduce the chances of the product drying onto the paintwork, or the clear coat, should I say. And once I've rinsed those areas off, I go grab the next mitt from the wash bucket and go around and do all the glass, including the aforementioned mirrors. And I don't think I've mentioned this before, but I also clean the wiper blades with the back of this particular mitt. Because the wiper blades can get a bit grubby, and this way you're not putting it on anything that's going to transfer onto the rest of the paintwork. As with the first section, once you've finished cleaning all the glass, go around and rinse it all off, and then making sure to remove all the product from the car every time you do this. Not only from the parts that have just been cleaned, but remember that the solution's running down the way, so it needs to be cleaned off the rest of the car as well. Even though those panels are going to be washed in a second, it's just good practice to keep ensuring that the soap is removed every time so it's not getting dried in. We'll start to speed this up a bit because I think you'll see a pattern forming here, so it's just a matter of each sleep repeat. I'm basically just going around and washing the car in my normal routine. The only difference being that where I would normally be just rinsing the mitts out, I'm now rinsing the car off as well. Another thing I would recommend is, as you're rinsing each panel off, just go over the rest of the car again to keep it cool. Keep the roof cool, the bonnet, and not just the panels you've just washed, if that makes sense. Paying particular attention to the panels which are actually in the direct sunlight, as obviously they're the ones that are going to dry quicker. And as well as getting the product off, you don't want the water to dry on either, because then obviously you're going to end up with water spots, which again can be a nightmare to remove. Just to recap what I've done, broken the car into 5 sections and washed and rinsed each section one at a time. You can add sections in, you can remove sections, this is just how I do it, it's my preferred method. And when I've finished, just go around and rinse the whole car off thoroughly again. This has a couple of benefits, main one being that obviously you're keeping the panels nice and cool, and secondly you're ensuring that you've removed all the product from the car. Not forgetting the final part of the contact wash, which is to go around all the badges, window seals, grills, etc. and clean all the bits that your wash mitts aren't going to reach into. And once again, rinse them off thoroughly. And finally, never neglect the fuel filling area. Now that we're all washed and rinsed and rinsed and rinsed some more, it's time to dry the car off. This is the same as always. Go around to the glass first. This will dampen the towel and allow it to absorb more water. And then just dry the car as normal. Again, I would focus on the areas that are in direct sunlight first of all, as obviously they're the areas which are going to dry out quicker, and this is to avoid leaving any water spots on the paintwork. Once dried, you can obviously choose to use any finishing products at your own peril. I decided not to on this occasion because it's just not something I enjoy doing in direct sunlight. It creates too much hassle, and as you'll see in these finishing shots, the car didn't really need it anyway. However, as I've said repeatedly throughout this and most of my videos, this is not me telling you what to do, this is me telling you what I do. And there we are, a car washed and dried in direct sunlight, and as you can see from these final shots, no water spots, no soap stains, job done. It might take a bit longer and it might use a bit more water, but it's perfectly safe as long as you're sensible about it. Thanks very much for taking the time to watch it if you've made it this far, and don't forget to press the thumbs up, it really supports the channel, and subscribe, and by all means share it with anybody else you think might be interested. In the meantime, take care, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.